deepfake technology. Powerful, controversial, and now within your reach. In this session, I'm going to teach you how to use AI to create live, real-time deepfake technology. Welcome to this quick tutorial on the Deep Webcam project. My name is Jay, and today I'll be walking you through how to set up and use this fantastic tool that brings real-time deep learning magic to your web. First, let's take a quick look at the project itself. Deep Webcam is an open source tool that uses deep learning to apply filters to your webcam in real time. The project is hosted on Github, and you can find the link in the description below. Before we dive into the setup, there's an important disclaimer that I need to mention. So users of this software are expected to use the software responsibly while abiding the local law. If the face of a real person is being used, users are required to get consent from the concerned person and clearly mention that it is deepfake when posting content online. Developers of this software nor myself will not be responsible for actions of end users. All right, with that out of the way, let's get started by cloning the repository to your local machine. Open your terminal and run this following command. So you will have to clone the repository, and I'll post the URL in the description below. So once the cloning is done, navigate into the project directory by using cd deep webcam. So once you're in the directory, you need to download two models inside the models folder, which is this one and this one. It's very simple. You just download it and then put it into this directory. And I'll put the link in the description down below as well. But it's also in the GitHub instructions page. All right, before we jump into the actual project itself, let's talk about setting up a virtual environment in Python. If you're working on multiple Python projects, it's crucial to keep things organized and avoid conflicts between different packages. That's where a virtual environment comes in. First, let's create a virtual environment. This will keep our project dependencies isolated from the rest of our system. Just because if you take a look at the requirements.txt, there are quite a lot of requirements and dependencies. And I personally don't want to download all of these requirements on my local machine, but rather I want to set up a virtual environment where I can download all these packages. And once I'm done with it, I can just, get rid of it and leave it. So make sure you're in the project directory. If you're not there yet, you need to navigate into this Deep Webcam directory. So let's create the virtual environment. We'll name it vamp for simplicity. So run this command, python -m vamp. Now I've already created it, so I'm actually not going to run it. But as you can see, the vamp folder is in here. So what this does is create a new folder named vamp in your project directory. This folder will contain all the Python packages your project needs without interfering with your global Python environment. Step 3, now we've created the virtual environment, we need to activate it. This tells your system to use the isolated environment for the system. The activation command varies depending on your operating system. If you're using Windows, it's vamp -scripts -activate. If you're using Mac OS or Linux, like myself, you can do source vamp -bin -activate. So if you actually do that, it's going to activate the virtual environment for the Python. So you'll know it's activated when you see the vamp prefix before your command prompt. And this means that anything you install or run now will happen within the isolated environment. So when I first started coding, I didn't know the concept of virtual environment. So I'm going to explain a little bit more. Now, why do we actually need virtual environment aside from the reasons I mentioned? Imagine you're working on one project that needs a specific version of a package. So let's say this Deep Webcam project needs PySox version 1.7.1. But another project requires a different version. Without a virtual environment, you would constantly uninstalling and reinstalling packages, which is a nightmare. With virtual environments, each project can have its own set of dependencies and they won't interfere with each other. Because some legacy projects need some old dependencies, and some modern or newer projects might need a very up-to-date versions of these dependencies. So that's why a virtual environment comes very handy. Next up, we need to install all the necessary packages for the project. And these files are listed in the file called requirements.txt, which I've already showed you. To install everything, just run this command, pip install -r requirements.txt. Now let's talk a bit about CPU and GPU processing and how they are different, especially when it comes to deep learning tasks like this one. CPUs are designed to handle a wide range of tasks, including complex calculations and multi-threading, but they're generally optimized for sequential processing. What it means is that while your CPU can handle this deep learning model, it might struggle to maintain a high frame rate because it's processing each frame one at a time. On the other hand, GPUs are designed for parallel processing, making them ideal for tasks like deep learning, where you need to process many operations simultaneously. If you have dedicated GPUs, such as NVIDIA or AMD card, you will likely see much smoother performance because the GPU can process multiple frames at once. But for today's topic, I'm going to use macOS CPU processing, so it's going to be slightly slower. But if you're using NVIDIA or GPUs, then make sure to read the GitHub instructions. But if you have any questions, let me know. Now that everything's set up, let's run the program. You can start the Deep Live Cam by running the following command. So I'm going to do python run.py, and it's going to take some time. So when you run this command, the program will start capturing your webcam feed and applying the effects in real time. If you're on CPU, notice some lags. Try reducing the resolution of your webcam or closing other programs to free up some resources. If you're using GPU, you should see smooth real-time effects applied to your video feed. So let's select a face. And for the sake of today's video, I prepared ex-President Donald Trump. And once you select the face, you can go live and see the program is up and running. It's a bit slow, it's a bit laggy, but I think it is working well. So as you can see, this Deep Live Cam code is rather a very complex code. All in all, this code captures frames from your webcam using some Python libraries and places them into a queue for processing, and then applies deep learning effect using a separate thread to ensure a smooth performance. And that's it. You've set up and run Deep Live Cam on your own machine. If you run into any issues, don't forget to check GitHub issues page or leave a comment below. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe for more tech content. Thank you for watching and happy coding.